Welcome to the Dungeon Coach Plays. I'm the Dungeon Coach, and we are getting into the Rift of Nations character backstories for the campaign that I'm running. 100% homebrew campaign set in the world of Corrin. Lots of different inspiration from other ideas. And if you want to see the big picture, you should watch it beforehand. I know I actually don't know how long it is, but it's the full prologue to the entire campaign. This is going to be from the characters at each of the different little nuggets there that I do talk about some in there. And again, I'm making this as a follow-up to that one. So make sure you check that out in the description. I'm out. You might wonder why I look like this and why I look so heroic. But crazy news for this channel. Dungeon Coach Plays, my second channel, is now sponsored by Warforged, so I'm looking all heroic and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And this is so perfect because before they even sponsor this, I already have in this video that you're about to see all of this stuff played out like this. These are the characters, NPCs. I gave all of my players heroforge.com links, and they went and made their characters on HeroForge, sent them back to me. I tweaked up some stuff with them, and then we got them ordered, and we all have them right here. Look at them all looking so epic. Oh yeah. Link will be down in the description, of course, but now let's break down these character backstories. Here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show the character. I have a HeroForge mock-up of what the character looks like to kind of get a little bit of a visual. I would love character art. If there's ever any type of character art, I might have to put a link for some sort of place where y'all can put character art, or if y'all have a link that you put to something of character art. I don't really know how to get, if that ever happens, if this even turns into something big enough that people want to draw character art for this, that'd be cool. But I'm going to show you the HeroForge version mock-up of the character. I'm going to give you the little gist of their character and then the secrets, the DM secrets of that character. So here we go. First character up is Clara the Artificer. This is her. She uses a ranged weapon. She has this like almost like buzzsaw type thing where she can like presses a button and these blades fling out in her hand right here. You can actually see, yeah, this little spinning blade wheel thing there. Check that out. Super cool. I actually did get these made from HeroForge, and I have the miniatures actually printed off. They're pretty sweet. But this is Clara. Her big secret is she has a pet magical cat. That's all she told me. She told me she had a pet magical cat. But the lie about that is she what I mean by the lie, she lies and says it's a normal cat. She does not tell people it's a magical cat. It's a completely normal cat. And they grew up in a small section of the Tech Nation. They had a little sister. She was very gifted in tinkering and stuff, and her little sister always tried to kind of tinker along with her. She was pretty much raised by a single mother, and her father was left whenever she was about 5 or 6 years old. He left, said goodbye, said he would be home. He said, I'll be right back. I just have to go on. And he would always kind of leave and come back multiple times, some sort of secret, basically like military type service. He was part of the mech militia, but he never came back. And he was gone a lot and left for all those different types of things that I just said. And then she continued to kept tinkering underneath her uncle, her father's brother. Her uncle taught her how to tinker and just really progress that skill. And then she found some stray cat on the edge of the city rolling around in muddy water. That this is the magical cat, she said. Those are all the normal things. That's what the player all knew. She knew all those things, and that's about what she left it at. But the DM secrets. Here's the DM secrets. Her father is actually a double agent for the Tech Nation and infiltrated the Gilded Gears, which is a thieves guild in Aldor. Aldor is the Tech Nation. He left to go stand against the Braxis in the Battle of the Great Divide, which I talk about in the main campaign video. And he was one of the 7 keepers that stood against the Braxis to try and stop him. But big, huge memory pulse wiped his memory clean. He had amnesia. And so Clara's father is now one of the 5 leaders of the Wanderers. The Wanderers is this wandering band of the Hilltop Nation. Her father is one of the 5 leaders of that nation. The Wanderers is what they're called now. The Wanderers have 5 different leaders, and one of those leaders is Clara's father, that she'll eventually find out however they interact with the Wanderers. Her grandfather's actually one of the ones who was inspired by and created the Warforged, the 10 different Warforged that each of the nations get. Again, you're gonna have to watch that video for the big picture of that. Her grandfather was one who created it, and he had schematics of it that she's going to be able to have access to maybe in the future. I don't know. And this cat of hers is actually Claudius, a moon druid advisor to Abraxas from the Forest Nation. And that's, again, all of that stuff about you see about Claudius. He's a big player in one of the stuff that has to do with this campaign setting. And he's basically a druid that has amnesia and doesn't know that he's actually a druid. Next up is Ivar. He is a fighter. His big secret is that he sees things and daydreams. He has, like, like when you're like not sleepwalking, because that's whenever you're asleep and you're physically moving around. Whenever you don't sleep for so long and you go long stretches of time without sleeping, you start to have like daydreams and you like start to see things and stuff. That's kind of what he's going on. Daydreaming, but in a weird, twisted way. He starts to see things that aren't really there. And his lie is nothing. He told everyone in second session that he sees stuff, and it's yeah, he didn't keep his secret. Each of the 4 players has a secret. He revealed that thing second session out the gate. Pretty much everybody figured that out, no problem. And he just told people, so he didn't want to keep a secret. Cool, you don't have to keep a secret. I respect it. What does he look like? So he's a street rat urchin, looks like this. Ooh, look at him. Skinny dexterity type situation. He's part of the Mountain Nation. They really keep to themselves. And there's a 3-class system in the Mountain Nation. Low, middle, and high class. He is definitely from the low class, and he starts to sneak around and kind of get into some trouble. He starts to kind of fend for himself and kind of take what he needs for his family for good reasons. He's like kind of like Robin Hood style. He's stealing when only when he has to. And he figures out a way to break into the middle class district up from the low class district where he's in, and he finds a thieves guild called Peak, like Peak of the Mountain, Peak like sneak peek. See the little, like that? And they taught him how to sneak even better and sneak into the high class area. And he was able to live out his dream of joining the army of Dratun to try and become an immortal. And I don't mean immortal like live forever. The immortals are what is called the army of Dratun is called. I think that's also a historical army from like Persia or something. But anyway, he wants to be part of the nation's army of, but they have a high class requirement to be able to even join the army. And the Mountains army is very small, very high caliber, but very small. His mother's extremely religious and puts that religion on him a lot. And she makes trips to Sanctuary. Sanctuary is something I actually didn't talk about in the main video. Sanctuary is a section of ran by the church that is this meditation nation. One of the players actually made it up, and one of the things I said, like, you guys can make nations. Y'all want to have this be a nation campaign? Y'all can make up nations. And Clara, the Artificer, made up this nation, and then I was like, all right, cool. And I weaved it into the world. It's basically a nation of meditation and enlightenment, but really, secretly, it's actually their minds and their memories and are being harvested by this nightmare energy and fueling this nightmare energy. So her mother would go there on trips to Sanctuary, and then after a while, she started to have memory problems and get a little old and senile. You could be chalked up to some sort of dementia type stuff, but it's actually from Sanctuary. And his father's weak and old and too old to work now, so his oldest brother has to work. His oldest brother he's one of 6 kids. His older siblings have to work for the family, but his oldest brother came back with some sort of sickness, some sort of coughing up, and has some black stuff coming out of his mouth, which is the rot, which is the disease from the Forest Nation, from all of this stuff. So his family is infected, or his brother is infected with the rot sickness. He's wanted to try to find out some sort of cure to be able to help him. In the final days in the mountains before he left, he was high up in the mountains, and he started to, through all of his thieves guild type stuff and different things they're trying to explore, he stumbled across this little pathway that was like blocked off and very much secluded and hidden. And something was happening. People were kind of rushing around, and so he starts to follow, and he gets to this spot in the side of the mountains in a section he's never been to before. He doesn't see anybody around. And there's this huge opening on the side of the cliff face. It looks like it could be a cave opening, but it's like closed shut with rock. And there's these white sigils of magic all around it. He has no idea what's going on there. And this flash of white, this like purple and white light flashes out, and he gets blinded by it for a second and makes a noise. Everybody sees him, and they want to stop to go catch him. Like, you stop. And he runs, and he gets out of there because he's definitely not supposed to be in this section, this area, and runs out of there, gets the people that are closest to him, and gets out of town, and just and runs and leaves the Tech Nation, or Tech Nation, runs and leaves the Mountain Nation in the best way he can to go try and now set off into the world to figure out how he can make a living for his family, be able to figure out what's going on with his brother to find some sort of cure, and just go out and do stuff, because he can't stay there because he probably would have gotten caught in prison. But what he doesn't know is those people were actually a secret group of individuals called the Dreamers, who are trying to keep this nightmare situation at bay. And there's a cave that they are trying to seal shut and keep continuously sealing shut to keep some things at bay that I talked about in the previous video as well. But that energy that got out to him is this ancient nightmare energy that is now giving him visions and letting him see into this nightmare realm. And the kind of like how the Feywild and the Shadowfell work. In this campaign, that's kind of what I've done with the Dream Realm. Is it's like a layer mirroring the material plane, and he can kind of see into that just a little bit. He has no idea about that though. And he joins the Mech Militia to be able to try and make money and join the army that he was trying to want to join the Mountain Nation, but he just didn't have the high class status enough for it yet. And some of the secrets is his mother, his memory loss is coming from the whole sanctuary thing. We just talked about that. His brother has the rot. We talked about that. What he saw at the entrance of the underground ruins was this history of the past, of this happening before. All of this forgetting of nations, and the nations going from however many nations down to no more nations left, and everything's wiped free in the nightmare Lavish Star takeover. This has happened before, and that's kind of where this whole thing's coming from. There's a nightmare dragon trapped inside and this cave that's being sealed shut and kept by the Dreamers to keep it at bay and not escape into the world, because then you'd have even more nightmare energies flooding out into the world. Third player now is Q Kazar Prasildo. Q for short. Q looks like this. He's got he is a Warforged. He is a Warforged. This is his left arm. One of the things that where this hell thing came from is the big secret is he's a Warforged. The lie is it's only his left arm is the only thing that is made of tech, right? And this came from the player wanted to be a barbarian, but he's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool? Because one of the players said that they're an artificer, and this is at session 0. And when he's like, yeah, that'd be cool. Like, what if my left arm is like tech? Like I have a left arm and it's like only my left arm is tech. I was like, oh yeah, that'd be really cool. So everybody's like, yeah. And then after it was over, I was like, hey, what if your whole body was tech? What if you were a Warforged and no one knew it? And he's like, whoa. And then he dove into that. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So this arm, you can see it right here. This arm is a Warforged, but really, he looks like this. Actually, he's actually a Warforged. So I did actually get 2 minis, and right now we're using this mini because none of the other players really know that. And then as soon as they find out, I'm switching minis to this because I think this looks cooler, and it just shows that he's a Warforged, right? So, what's going on here with his backstory? His backstory is a huge part of the entire story that I told in the campaign overview. He's only been awake for about 10 to 12 years from whenever he was awakened. He woke up remembering nothing. He's woke up next to an old woman that seemed like she was confused and lost, and this cat that ran off into nowhere. He goes and he helps this old woman navigate through the swamps. She's seems to be just, again, confused because she just got her memory wiped, if you've seen that video. So he finds this place to keep her safe and secure, and he goes to the tech nation to try and, but he's a mech person, so he has a hood, and he's trying to find someone to be able to build him some sort of disguise. So he's able to, and this was part of one-on-one stuff I did with him in session 0 pre-stuff, is he's like, I want to find somebody, I want to find some way that I can get some sort of, and I told him, I said, I'll give you a magic item that gives you some sort of illusion on your face, but you're gonna have to, how would you find it? How would you get it? He's like, I want to try and find someone from the Tech Nation army that like an artificer that specializes in some sort of illusion enchantments. I was like, okay, cool. So he finds a person that he opens up to and trusts. I was like, wow, he's sharing with somebody that he's a Warforged. That's a big freaking deal in this world. So what I did is I rolled this D20, this one right here. We're sitting on the phone, literally in this room right now. And I was like, all right, I'm going to roll a D20 to see what type of person you just trusted. High, it's going to be completely up and up. He's going to keep your secret to take it to his grave. This is going to be awesome. Low, it's going to be bad. I said, honestly though, but only, I respect you reaching out and trusting. It's really cool what you did here. Only on a 5 and lower is it going to be bad. So then I rolled it, and I didn't tell him what the result was, but this was the result. The first roll of the campaign, this was the result, right? So this person named Judas, is a spy, and he's part of the Gilded Gears, which is this thieves guild of not a good thieves guild, and the same thieves guild that Clara's father was a double agent for, that was trying to get into the, like, he was a good guy that was like inside the Gilded Gears trying to take it down from the inside type situation. This person that Q trusted is part of that bad situation, and is going to backstab him now and reveal his identity in some way, in a bad way. And he has no idea. He has no idea. So that'll be an interesting curveball by the time that happens. But yeah, so Q joins the Tech Nation Army to try and figure out what he's able to do, what is out there, like get answers to some stuff through some better means of things, and he joins the Tech Nation Army. So now 3 of the 3 players have now joined the Tech Nation Army. Oh, but the secrets of Q. Q is a Forest Nation Warforged. He has no idea about that. He woke up as a completely blank slate. Corey's actually one of the 3, the Swamp Nation, one of the fallen nations that nobody knows about anymore. She is one of the main 3 witches of the Swamp Nation. Very powerful caster. And yeah, that's Q. So now to the 4th and final player, we have Darius. Darius is a Kalashtar, which is the race, the desert people race. It's a darker skinned, yellow eyes, white hair, and they have a connection to the dream world. And you can see here, he has his tome in his hand. His green mage tome is what he called it in his backstory. And Darius is a wizard. Everyone at the table, he's talked about being a wizard. He's a wizard. He's a wizard. He's a wizard. He has a tome. He casts spells like a wizard. But just also from a homebrew side of things, whenever my players want to be a caster, I ask them what casting modifier do you want, and what spells list do you want, right? So he chose Warlock as his mechanically, he's a Warlock. He chose charisma for his thing, as warlocks normally are. He could have chosen intelligence. He could have chosen wisdom, because again, that's a whole nother homebrew video side thing that I've done on that. But he also got to choose a spell list, and he wanted to have a nature type spell list. He wanted to be basically like a wizard, but through a spell list. This is a homebrew thing that I allow for my casters to do. They get to choose what mechanical class they are going to be, what their spell casting modifier is, and what their spell list is. So mechanically, he wanted to be a wizard, right? Okay, cool. You were mechanically a wizard. But then I guess a 4th category is, how do you explain your magic? He wanted to explain his magic through being a warlock and having his magic given to him through some sort of patron. So he likes the whole book concept, but this book came from some sort of patron entity that he doesn't know about. He has no idea. That's my fun time to mess with. And then his spellcasting modifier was charisma. So he's a wizard with charisma, but with a warlock explanation. And his spell list is the druid spell list. So I know that's like, oh my gosh, that's really weird. But it's a wizard with charisma explained as a warlock, and you have access to the druid spell list with nature. So I mean, that's the type of thing he wanted to do. It felt weird for him to, oh no, you're a druid now, so now you can shapeshift and stuff, when you really don't want to shapeshift. All you really want, you want to be like a wizard and have. So anyway, the players at the table think that he is a wizard. He has a spell book and a spell tome. A lot of some of the other players have played D&D before. They can tell what kind of class somebody's being. Okay, he's a wizard, right? But no, he's a warlock, and it has not been revealed yet as his true source of his powers and stuff. So his patron is a green dragon. An ancient green dragon is his patron. I know that's a weird patron or whatever, but in this world, that's where a lot of this green magic comes from. There's 5 different dragons in this campaign: a nature dragon, a light dragon, an arcane dragon, like an actual, arcane magic itself, a dream dragon, and a nightmare dragon. Those are the 5 ones. I felt like that was all that was really needed, as not necessarily gods of this world, but it's just forces of power that interweave to all of the other stuff that's going on. But again, I don't want this to be a high magic campaign where they're traveling through plains and there's dragons everywhere. I wanted to dial that down. They wanted to have a little bit of a lower magic, Kingdoms at War type feel, but I gotta put in dragons. Come on. So anyway, Darius, again, there's Darius. He's a Kalashtar. He's connected to dream people. His backstory is amnesia. At 18 years old and beyond is the only thing he remembers. From 18 and back, he has no memory of. And I'm going to let that play out in the story as I talk to you guys. I'd have to have this whole thing, and I would say right now, these videos are already long enough. but his history comes from the desert nation. He grew up in the desert nation. His father was one of the protectors to the king, and he, Darius, was a protector of the son of the king, and he grew up alongside the son of the sultan of the desert nation. The desert nation's like main person, his son, the future heir to the throne. Darius and him were best friends, and he would protect him. He was the assigned protector to the future king, future sultan or whatever of the desert nation. So that's a little nugget of his backstory. He has no idea about any of that. And he only can remember the last like 6 to 8 years. And he was with 2 other Kalishtar. He doesn't know, he remembers their names or whatever. And they all know each other. One of them was Beset Solomar, which is the son to the heir of the throne to the desert nation. And the second one was Paki, who is a female Kalishtar and was his love interest, if not fiance type situation that is now forgotten about. And I chose this. I originally didn't have anything for the first couple sessions. This was he found this like love interest. There was this NPC that he really established a bond with. So I said, what an interesting curveball to have this other female Kalishtar that he has amnesia with, of like them coming from somewhere and they all woke up next to each other not knowing what was going on. What if that was a former love interest? That gives some little interesting conflict there. So that'll be interesting when that plays out. They were all three of those people, him and the other 2 that he like came to with him. They woke up in the middle of the desert nation, just leaving the desert nation. Again, they don't even know that there's a desert nation. There's this mirage of sand behind them they could never really navigate through. So they left and went to the Grasslands nation, and they joined a thieves guild there. If you haven't also noticed, there's a lot of thieves guilds in some of these characters' backgrounds. They joined the Verdant Blades, which is the group of like blades of grass, right, from the Grasslands nation. Blades, anyway. So part of this thieves guild, long story short, there's this one task that they had to break into this little vault of part of the Grasslands nation that had just gone on an excavation to some ruins of some kind. And they went and broke into there. They all got caught, and they each had one item that they tried to escape with. Darius escaped with the Green Mage Tome that he has in his hand, that is the actual book that the patron connected to him through. And the other, in the scuffle of everything as part of the backstory, they all went their separate directions, and he doesn't know what happened to either of them. Beset got caught. I rolled for this behind the scenes. Beset got caught, and Paki, the female, she escaped and she was able to get back, and she's now looking for him to try and find him to be able to go help save Beset, because Beset's caught. And Beset is the future, anyway, you get the idea. But Darius had to run and get the heck out of there, and fled the Grasslands nation and went to the Tech nation. And that's when he was practicing, spent years practicing this tome that he found. He found this tome that he had spells and all this stuff. He was trying to learn and teach himself how to cast magic. And then finally one time he kept having these dreams of him being underwater and being able to breathe, these dreams of being able to interact with nature. And finally, through some inspiration from the dreams he was having, given to him by his patron, who's actually an ancient green dragon, and him thoroughly practicing for years, he was able to start to cast magic a little bit, and then wanted to know more and learn more, and he joined the Tech Nation army to be able to then meet up with all the rest of the other players. But the secrets, and then I'll tell you the big overview. In his past, he was he's shadow to the prince is what they call it, and the heir to the throne and the nation of the desert nation, called Ralden. But again, I'm referring to these nations to you guys as their land location, because I don't want you guys to have to remember the specific names to all of them. His travel buddy was Beset. I told you that. Paki's a former love interest. You know that. And Patron's a green dragon, and there's 5 dragons. So there's all the secrets. You know them all now. So the big picture now, all these 4 different players have all came together, and what happened at session 0 is I was like, all right, you guys are all joining the Tech Nation army called the Mech Militia. It's this group of, it's an army, but it's structured a little bit more haphazardly than an army, because I didn't want it to be like, you need to go here, you need to go here, you need to go here. That'd be very linear. So I had it be more of like a band of mercenaries. They joined a group and they were given supplies. They would be a band of mercenaries that were given tasks. They could choose which tasks they do. They have to report back, and there's some other things they have to do, but I wanted to structure it a little bit more open and free so that they felt free to be able to explore and not be like stuck in forced to be into an army. Wouldn't feel very good. So I said, you each have to come up with different reasons why you joined this army. Why are you a part of it? Where'd you come from? And they gave me all these pieces, and then I weaved it together and spanned it into the thing from the overview campaign video. And here we are. So now every video I'm posting from here on out is going to be, and linked down in the description, is going to be this series of events, this playlist of what's going on from the DM perspective. You can see the behind the scenes of what I'm thinking of beforehand, what happens afterwards, different moves I have to make during, before, after, in between, all that kind of stuff, and to see what the heck these players do and when they figure out all these twists and turns. So stay creative, think outside the box. Can't wait to see where this thing goes. Peace.